do this once a week, and as we get more data on all these teams, we like to play a nice little game called Contender or Pretender, where we say if this team is a contender or pretender. For those that are new, are we talking about for the SEC championship, or are we talking about for the national championship? And what realm are we putting contender, pretender as we get deeper into the season?
So originally we were just doing SEC championship.
Correct, yeah.
Now I have to say we're switching over to the college football playoff champion. Now that we're getting later in the season,
Right.
and the committee is releasing their rankings. The latest ones come out tonight. And this week we have the Ole Miss Rebels, who are 9-1, fresh off a shutout victory over the Citadel this past weekend. G, you want to open it up here?
I'll open it up. I'm going to go the Ole Miss Rebels are a legitimate contender. This is a
That guy right
program that he's the guy. As Trinidad Chambliss there for the Ole Miss Rebels here. Okay, 9-1 so far this season. They're fourth in the SEC in points, average about 37 points per game. But when their defense has been needed,
Yes.
towards the end of games, specifically in the Oklahoma game, specifically also in the LSU game. Now I know LSU's offense is no dynamite, but when the defense has been needed, that's where they've stepped up. And that's
Right.
the difference between last year's Ole Miss team and this year's Ole Miss team. They are not the 85 Bears. They are not the 2000 Ravens. But they do just enough to let the offense, obviously take charge of the football game. I think in any game, if they could stay to their averages, their average is about 37 points per game. They could stay to their averages as far as on defense and allow less, right around 3 touchdowns. They give themselves a shot at every position. And I see them doing that from now through the end of the season and possibly in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Ole Miss team last year and the defense, they were great. I believe they were the number 1 team in the country
Yes.
scoring defense, scoring off of turnovers like pick
Right.
sixes,
Right.
scooping scores. But they just let up so many yards that it was just they never could be a true contender because, I mean, you had Jackson Dart running your offense. I mean, honestly, you could have made the argument that they had one of the best offenses in the SEC, and
Right.
it was kind of a wasted year because they lost the game to Kentucky that really was the one that probably kept them out of the college football playoff.
Right.
This year, there was only one game where it was like, I don't know about this team, and it was between the hedges, and you can make the argument that they should have won that game.
Yes.
The offense was clicking. The defense let up on Georgia late, and Trinidad just didn't know how to close out a road game. That was his first major road game
That's
in the
right.
SEC.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I mean, the ABC broadcast showed the attendance over in between the hedges. I believe it was like 90,000, and that's what he had seen in his entire career at Fair State.
Yep. For
Combined.
Exactly, yes. I think the combined audience he played for was like 70,000,
Yeah.
and he played in front of 90 that day. Still handled himself really well. Like you said, the offense was clicking. They scored 35 points, but the defense was a little leaky. I think they've learned their lessons since then. In their 3 games since then, Oklahoma held them to 26 points, South Carolina to 14, of course, shut out Citadel last week. That's why I think they are. And beyond the players on the field, but the other contender or pretenders that we've done so far, I look at the team for the most part.
Right.
I look at Oklahoma as a team, and there were some questions about John Mateer. There's some questions about the health of the health of the offensive line. I thought the defensive, especially the defensive line, was going to be sensational. And with other teams, I think I've done players, but this is the first time I'll invoke the coach. I think that there is a huge bump with Lane Kiffin because there is a belief that they can get it done with Lane Kiffin. So that's the reason why I do believe, even if I didn't believe in the defense as much, I believe in Lane's ability to get the offense where it needs to be able to score enough points. Of course, they play Florida and Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl to close out the season. I expect them to win both those games. I think the Egg Bowl is a nice test there right before the college football playoff. I'm all in. I'm all in on Ole Miss, and I think they are a true contender.
I have to say as well, I think they are all in. The Oklahoma game was the beginning of, okay, how are the Rebels going to respond after the Georgia game?
Right.
And they held John Mateer in a rainy day, and Trinidad had a great game. You could easily make the argument that Trinidad's, well, there is no argument. Trinidad is the best D2 quarterback transfer in the NCAA right now. The other argument I'd make is Kejuan Lacey's probably the best running back in the country right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's I think he just eclipsed Quinshon Judkins' record for touchdowns at Ole Miss.
At Ole Miss, exactly.
And he's still got 2 games left to play.
That's exactly right. So I'm gonna pull up his season stats because I believe
he has 17 touchdowns on the ground right now, and I think that's what set the record. Ole Miss is a contender, and I really think we need to start having serious conversations about Ole Miss because, as I mentioned, it would be a major boost if they were able to lock up the 6 seed. I think the 5 seed would be even better. It's just you'd need Georgia to lose to Texas this weekend, which it definitely could happen. Texas is playing with their backs against the wall at this point. Georgia probably can't afford another loss. I think a 2-loss Georgia team would make the college football playoff. But just the added boost it would be to either host or to be able to host the ACC or the second group of 5 champion, barring the ACC going crazy. If I'm Ole Miss, I would seriously rather host Virginia than host Notre Dame or Texas.
Oh, yeah, me too. And I think that the way that everything is shaping up right now, they could be that basically the number 3 team there in the SEC. They'll get a favorable draw. But, yeah, you're right, 17 touchdowns so far on the season for Kewan Lacey. He's a nice threat in the run and the passing game as well, 22 catches, 434 yards. He also has 900 yards there on the ground. It's a really interesting game also for Lane Kiffin, the head coach, because he is Florida's top target there in that matchup. Coach talked about handling the distractions.
I mean, I haven't even talked about it to him, and I haven't had one of them. And I think I'm pretty close to the players where they walk by or they say something, like if it was on their mind, they'd make a joke or something. I don't think it is. I think that they're very focused on what to do. Again, I said it's a different age nowadays. Like when I addressed it a couple weeks ago, and I certainly don't think it was a distraction since. We won Oklahoma, South Carolina, played really well last week. I just said, hey, this is kind of the world that you're in. You guys now are used to this where players didn't used to, I mean, these guys get way more of it than I do. They get calls on Saturday night after games from other coaches talking about next year and how much money they have for them and their plans for them and their system. So I don't think it's that big a deal.
So that is Lane Kiffin talking about the distractions and pouring a lot of water on this and saying I think he's being transparent too with the way he's talking about it.
I think he's also been trolling a lot, but that's just Lane Kiffin. I think yesterday he posted something like freeze warning.
I saw that. Yeah, with his car. He's trolling Auburn. He's been controlling Auburn for forever.
Yeah, I mean, he trolls Auburn with a freeze warning, and then he keeps posting these quotes where it's like sometimes you just gotta let it go. And it's like kind of sending the Ole Miss fans for a loop because it's like, what is he letting us go? Is he leaving? Or is he letting Florida go? So I think our former co-host put it great a few months ago. You just gotta have that cat and mouse game. You never know what's next.
Yep. And I think he loves it. I think he already knows what he's going to do. He's not going to let anybody else in on it. And until then, he wants to play the cat and mouse game. He wants to play, and I won't be surprised at all if we continue to see this from him from now through the end of the season, even going into the playoff. I mean, I can see something coming up this weekend. I can see something coming up at the Egg Bowl. I can see something coming up at the college football playoff. I just don't see this ending anytime soon.
No, and honestly, I also don't see them losing this weekend. But if they do lose, there's going to be questions about, all right, did he throw the game just so he could get to Florida?
Yeah. There will be interesting because the Florida. I know last week, notwithstanding, Florida's been a really interesting team to follow. They've already beat Texas. They've played well in the Swamp. I know this game is not in the Swamp, but
Kentucky demolished them though. That was a shocker.
Yes, and I'm super interested to see how this one, not only the game plays out, but how Lane handles everything because there's going to be a lot of chirping there from Gator Nation. Hotty toddy. We likes the party. Big win there coming up, I think, for the Ole Miss Rebels.